Hey, Chicago, what do you say? It's the CHGO Cubs Pregame Show podcast. It's an early matinee. Cubs and Tigers. Greg Braggs. Cubs and Tigers. This afternoon as the Cubs try to win a series against the lowly Detroit Tigers after losing last night.
Not the Royals.
Not the Royals. That's the Sox thinking about the Royals all the time. They're trying to recreate that franchise on the South Side because it's been so successful. Luke Stuckmeyer, Ryan Herrera, and if you're wondering what Cody Delmendo looks straight out of bed, there it is, right there, unshowered, not wearing pants, not matching wearing socks, and he's got the slides going. That's the look of a man who's up earlier than expected and traveling on an airplane today.
Yeah. This is the first time I ever wore slides on the show.
Yeah.
Cody looks like I'd expect him to look with like 103 fever. But it's the 103 temperature today, maybe, you know? So same difference. It's okay.
Well, to be honest, if I had 103 fever, not only would I not be here, but I also would probably be wearing less clothes right now, too.
Even less.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's just keep it the way it is.
At my house by myself.
In our Bears meeting this morning, we were giving Mark Carman crap for dressing like Adam Sandler all the time, and I think Cody's giving Mark a run for his money this morning.
Shane pointed out Ryan has
Sandler,
shorts
so.
on. It is going to be hot.
I said it yesterday.
Hot.
I said, I teased it. I said I'm gonna have shorts on today. It's a hot one.
I mean, I didn't wear socks.
Yeah, Stucky doesn't have
Too
socks.
Too damn hot for pants today, brother.
Stucky
Didn't
and
wear
more.
You
socks.
walk outside here in the city of Chicago, and you start sweating within seconds.
Shane
it's
says
not good.
wool pants.
Not
They
great.
are not. They're like cotton pants I have. Becky says wisdom in the lineup. Oh, we'll get to that, Becky. We'll get to that. Nick says grab a cup of coffee, find a way to win a baseball game. I am curious how the whole naked guy across the street thing is going to unfold in the heat today.
Ooh.
Does he just light his cigarettes by holding it up in the air and it just
Maybe Bikini
lights on
Girl
its
comes
own?
out, starts tanning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting day. The air conditioners are going strong, and we may even mention a little White Sox because they're so dysfunctional, but that's later in the pregame show. We want to get to the fact that the Cubs are 3.5 games behind the first-place Brewers in the division entering this game today, and they are tied with the Diamondbacks for one of those last two wild card spots. So whether it's a second wild card or a third wild card, Cubs currently in one of those spots with the Reds and Giants a half game behind them each, and the Marlins 1 game back. So they're in the thick of it. They're right in the mix of it with a bunch of teams, and after you lose last night's game to the Royals, which to me is disappointing, today, you could say every game is a must-win game. Losing 2 out of 3 to the Tigers would be very, very, very disappointing. A lot of pressure now on Jameson Taillon. And when you talk about Taillon, here's a guy who says, hey, my curveball's feeling better. A lot of positive things have happened. There's been one dud in the middle there. This is a guy who is going to pitch in some very important games for the Cubs as they try to chase down a playoff spot.
Yeah.
No way around it. He's going to pitch in some very big games, and one of them is today.
Yeah, and you mentioned the one bad start, and you can't discount that, right? Like that happened.
It happened. Don't just throw it out.
So in his last 8 starts, that starts with that one at Yankee Stadium, which was arguably his best start of the year. Was his best start of the year. He's got a 3.69 ERA. You take out that 3 innings, 8 runs against Toronto. He's got a 2.14 ERA. So it has been better. And like I said, you can't take that one out. Like he has a 3.69 ERA in his last 8 starts. He has been a lot better than what he was the first, 3 months of the year. Like we saw the struggles. We saw the just inconsistency. Like, he had some good starts, and then he had some bad starts, obviously. But he's been, for the most part, over the last month and a half plus, since that start at Yankee Stadium, has been overall a better pitcher. Now, we talk about it with a lot of these guys, like with Assad, we talked about it the other day. Like, now Taillon's got to step up even more.
Yeah.
Now that Stroman is out for the foreseeable future, now that Drew Smyly, which we'll get to, but, you know, his issues.
Hendricks has stepped up.
Hendricks has stepped up. Steele is still pitching like Justin Steele, but like Taillon has got to be another guy that is consistently giving them chances to win. We have, like 6 weeks left in the season, maybe even less than that. Cubs can't really afford blow-ups from the starting pitchers right now. Like, Taillon just has to go out there and give them a chance to win. Obviously today, but just like moving forward, he has to go out there and give the Cubs a chance to win because, yes, like you mentioned, like there's a lot of teams right around them. I think pretty much every team that they needed to lose yesterday after they lost ended up winning. The Marlins won, the Reds won, the Diamondbacks won.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of the teams that they needed to lose yesterday ended up winning. So there's a lot of teams left in this race. Can't really afford to have this inconsistency that we've seen from the rotation recently. Taillon's going to be a part of that. He needs to just be consistently good and consistently giving these guys chances to win, keeping them in games.
Yeah.
By the way, yes, chat, we will talk Drew Smyly here in a second. Just hold on.
Taillon, I thought Taillon was decent from what I saw in left field last Friday. And 2 of the 4 earns that he ended up giving up, only 2 of them were earned because of the Bobby Witt Jr. homer. But obviously Patrick Wisdom's defense at first were alarming, and that's what led to the 2 other runs. So that's the way I choose to look at that game. So he's coming off a decent start, in my opinion. He was against a bad Royals team, and now he's going up against a bad Tigers team. Yeah, there's a lot of pressure on him to pitch well today, but outside of that start against the Blue Jays, where also defense didn't help him out there, thanks to Patrick Wisdom, he's pitched well since that start in New York. So has it been like lights out? No. Has he still made mistakes? Yes. Has the long ball still been a problem for him? Yes. So to me, if he gives up the long ball today, I just hope that it's solo shots. That's all I can hope for. And I do like the lineup the Cubs put out today, to be honest with you. Even though Mike Tauchman's not in there, I do like the lineup they put out there today. So I feel good for the most part going into this game, considering how annoyed I was after last night's game. But as far as Taillon, he's been better of late, and I just hope he continues that. And this is, like, not only is it for the Cubs, playoff chances and stuff, but, like, I said this months ago, like, or in July after he had that start against the Yankees, is like, hopefully this is the start of, like, just finishing the season strong. Like, this is not only just for the playoffs. This is for, like, for Taillon to salvage what's left of the year for him, to still to show that he's still someone that the Cubs can rely on beyond this year. You know what I mean? So again, he's been pretty solid since that. Yeah, and if he pitches well when the games really, really matter like this, then I can go in the offseason with him and Steele, and whether Stroman opts in or out, whatever. Like
Shohei,
yeah. Like, and then on top,
Shohei, Steele, and Taillon,
and Kyle and whoever. Like, we have all offseason to talk about the rotation for next year, but it is important for him to finish this season strong in terms of just like having some sort of idea of what this rotation could look like next year and who you feel confident with most. So, to me, the key for him today is to keep the ball in the park, because the big problem for him all season has been keeping the ball in the park. If he's able to do that, and again, the dimensions at Comerica Park are ridiculously stupid, this should help him today.
Yeah. And frankly, you hope that the Tigers guys playing a game last night, day games, sometimes you hope guys are just giving away at bats. That's really what you hope. You hope you get a couple of those every once in a while and that your pitcher's good. Now, you mentioned you like the lineup. I will say this about the lineup. There are still a couple things. What we like about the lineup, first of all, is what we asked for last night. You could see through the tea leaves that Patrick Wisdom was going to be in the lineup one way or another today.
Yeah.
What we begged for was Patrick Wisdom not to be at first base. He's not. Okay? So, check mark, that's good. Then we said, you know what? You chose Madrigal at third. Just put Wisdom's bat in there as the DH. Give Morel a day off. Check mark. Enjoy that. What I don't like here are a couple things, and this is just me first guessing. I don't want to be accused of second guessing. One, again, we see Bellinger batting fourth, and last night I would have liked the game to be on the line with Cody Bellinger at the plate, but he's still batting fourth. Don't know if that's because that's where Bellinger's asking to bat. I just want to see him get more at bats. I don't care who's ahead of him. I don't care who's behind him. I don't care if you want to bat him second. I don't care if you want to bat him third, but I want him higher than fourth, in my opinion. Now, I think it was, who was it? It wasn't Shane. Somebody in the, maybe it was Sean, was pointing out, I knew this was coming as soon as we saw it. Haps OPS against lefties till third. Like, I get it. Like, everybody's mad that Haps batting that high, especially
Against a lefty.
against a lefty. To me, that's still secondary to I want Bellinger batting more often if it's possible, even if it means one at bat. But I hear you. I hear you, and I'm not arguing against you.
Yeah. The only reason I said that I like the lineup is because I've just accepted that Ian Happ is going to bat third no matter what.
That's
and if the Cubs don't make
things
the
you can't
playoffs
change.
at the end of the day, like, I will look back and I will probably use that as my ammunition to criticize David Ross at the end of the year, because it's just like insanity at this point. And so I could sit here and complain to you guys every single day about it if you want me to. Like, I can.
Well, the chat's going
but-
to with or without us.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. Like, y'all can continue to complain about it. I have nothing else to say. You guys know how I feel about Ian Happ batting third. I'd rather him hit. Honestly, I'd rather him hit first or second or fifth or sixth. But it's, in those spots where you're trying to drive runs in, he just, at least on a consistent basis, to me, he hasn't done it this year. He's had a very solid year. To me, it's a down year comparably to last year, obviously. I think we would all agree with that. But I also think that the Cubs are asking him to do too much. And is that because this roster is still flawed, not ready to win a World Series? Perhaps.
That probably factors in.
Right.
Hey,
But at the same time, like, I'm not saying if, like, for example, say Suzuki, everyone complained about him hitting fourth a lot for 2 months, right? And now, even in last night's chat, I saw they need to move Seiya back up because he's hitting well now. But at the same time, it's like, all right, he's hitting well now, and he's hitting well consistently in that 6 or 7 hole. Do you move him up? I say no, because he's hitting well where he's at, right?
Don't
change
And
if
some
it ain't
people would
broken.
argue that with Bellinger. The guy's
Right.
been one of the best players in baseball. He's
Right.
batting fourth. Leave him where he's at. Braggs, can you show us that Cubs tweet
Yeah,
do
just
we
give me
have
one
a-
on the
second.
live YouTube chat
we
when you
have
get a
an
chance?
update.
The game is starting in a delay.
Ugh,
Great.
that means Luke can take
Stick a
nap.
fork in my
Yeah.
eyes. But Ryan Spin Master just said, hey, there is a pull-out couch over there.
There's time for a nap.
And there is time for that. A game starting in a delay. The picture from Detroit makes it look like Ghostbusters is about to begin.
Yeah.
With a Stay Puft Marshmallow
yeah.
Man is the only thing where Pillsbury Doughboy or whatever it was.
There you go.
Like, holy cow, is that dark?
So,
Sorry.
going back to what I was saying, Candelario, he was slumping up until last night a little bit.
Yeah.
He hits a home run yesterday. Like, maybe if he starts doing that a little bit more, maybe they'll move him up. I thought whenever they first traded for him that they should have had him up higher in the lineup. But, and he started off his second tenure with the Cubs red hot. I don't know. Like, to me, it's you don't, after Ian Happ to hit third. If you want to leave Bellinger fourth, who are you going to put there? It would be one of those two guys, Seiya or Candelario. But again, Seiya's hitting right now, and he really struggled in that 4-hole, that 3-4 hole, like, for 2 months. And so like, I know how this game is a mental game, so I'm fine with him, like, being wherever you're at where he's hitting, right?
So similar to my Wesneski take last night. Like, he was great. Let's
Yeah.
not move him into the starting rotation
Right.
again.
And again, Candelario too, like, overall he's hit well with the Cubs. He slumped a little bit, it felt like this last week, but hopefully what we saw last night is a sign of another hot stretch coming for him. the more if he does start heating up again, like to me, he's someone that perhaps you could put there, but I don't know, man. Like it's the Ian Happ hitting third thing. It's just like a tiring storyline for me because I just don't know anymore.
It's tough to keep relitigating it because it's not going to change, right?
Right. I just feel like they're going to do it no matter what.
And unless some drastic change that we're not like. I would be shocked to see Ross like. Not that it would be like the most shocking thing in the world, but like right now, the way things are going, it doesn't feel like Ross is keen on moving Ian Happ out of that spot right now. So it's just like I said, it's tough to keep relitigating it. I wanted to go back to the wisdom and at DH. The defense at first base is not what obviously the Cubs hoped it would be.
Right.
The third base defense hasn't been as good this year, obviously, either. For him, he's DHing, which, like you said, checks off the give Morel a day. But, I mean, I've seen people still, like, not liking that Wisdom's in the lineup. Since the All-Star break, he's hitting 250. He's got a 1099 OPS, a 181 WRC plus, and a part-time role, right? He has 6 home runs and 36 at-bats. That's what you have him on the roster for, is to be a part-time player and hit home runs. He's still striking out a lot, don't get me wrong, but like that's his role on this team, and he's doing it.
His game against the Blue Jays was very Patrick Wisdom-esque. He struck out 3 times and hit a homer.
Yeah, so he's doing what.
But it was a blowout loss.
But 3 strikeouts and a home run is a game I will take as long as there's the home run with it.
So what I'm saying
from him.
What I'm saying is that he's moving to more of a part-time role. He's not playing every day, obviously, and he's doing what he's kind of been asked of in this role. Is a small sample for sure, but you're a part-time player. All part-time players have small sample sizes. This is since the All-Star break. He only has 43 plate appearances, and he's had success in there. So the Cubs, I guess on the one hand, they're limiting the exposure he has to just all kinds of starters. Right? They're picking their spots. They're putting him in situations where they think he can have the most success. And today he's not at first base. Like this is kind of the scenario or situation that probably fits best for what Patrick Wisdom is to the Cubs.
I would agree. And
they're using his skill set correctly. It's not a wide-ranging skill set. The guy hits home runs. If you don't have to put him in the field and you can get a bat that might hit you a home run in this game.
And what's he hitting, 8th? Like he's not high in the lineup
and
anymore.
Morel I do think could use a day off.
Yeah.
Or at least a break from starting, especially.
Yeah, with Morel struggling this month especially, he could use the Starlin Castro / Seiya Suzuki treatment. Give him a handful of days off and go from there. Because the month of August has just been brutal. Outside of hitting that home run against the White Sox, it's been pretty brutal. And he did have the game-winning hit against the Blue Jays, I think, on that second game of that 3-game set.
They went to Eric Church.
He's had good moments for sure this month, despite how bad it's been. But the consistency hadn't been there. The strikeout rate is up. So again, like I said, I don't hate the lineup today for just knowing what we know, as what it is. I kind of talked about it last night on postgame. Like the Cubs aren't a great team. They're a good team, but they're not a great team. And so, like, obviously there are flaws in this team. And at this point, you're just hoping, you're hoping that this team can sneak into the playoffs. And, things get weird in October. Things can happen. They got to get there first, but you're hoping that whatever happens the rest of this year is, kind of like a momentum boost going into next year, into the offseason, all that stuff. And they need to take advantage of this easy schedule that they have, and build off it moving forward. So, again, I guess it all brings it back to, like, at the end of the day, I just wanted games that mattered here in the last 2 months of the year, and we're getting that. I've been annoyed a lot more lately, and I think it's literally just because I know the games matter so much more than even before the trade deadline. So. It's a weird adjustment for me because we haven't had this for like 4 years. So
yeah. Now the chat has had a lot of early chatter about Drew Smyly and the comments from David Ross. Now, obviously, Smyly, it could have been successful if you'd only pitched him 3 innings last night. But that's not the way it went, and he came back out, and it didn't go well.
Yep.
Word is, we just take them at their word for right now, that Drew Smyly will pitch and start for the Cubs on Sunday. You wanted Wicks. I said Wicks or anybody other than Smyly starting. Again, I don't have a problem with Smyly being part of the pitching staff as a lefty reliever, but I think marching him out there continually as a starter doesn't seem like the right move. Now, you have maybe a sugar coating to this, Ryan, because I know the chat's not happy, and I'm not saying Caleb Killian. I am not saying even Wesneski, because I'd like to leave him alone. Wicks, okay. Anybody else you want to try? Here's my thing about trying the young guys. If they come up and they get blasted, is it any worse than marching Smyly out there and getting the same result? Okay, if a young guy comes up and it doesn't work, it's just one game. It's not going to ruin the kid's career. Mm-hmm. Give it a shot.
Yeah.
What's the sugar?
Well, so I wanted
What's the silver lining? What's the sugar coating on this?
They want us to mention the quote from David Ross, like his comments about Smyly yesterday. This is via the Sun-Times. Who takes his spot in the quote? Who takes his spot in the rotation is the question. End quote. Ross said when asked if it was time to consider a more permanent move to the bullpen for Smyly, quote, he's in there because we're just a little short-handed right now. It's his first start back. Let's give him a little bit of grace, and I don't know that we have anybody waiting in line that we feel like is some dominant force. People have a problem with that, end quote. People have a problem with that. I think part of that is, post-game, wanting to have his players back, not crap all over him, obviously.
It's not necessarily his decision either.
It's not necessarily his decision. The roster moves are not David Ross's call, obviously. Like David Ross doesn't have that's a front office type thing. I would agree that I don't know that they have a dominant force. His words in waiting, but I will disagree in the fact that it's something what Corey brought up yesterday, that you're kind of seeing that Drew Smyly's not working, and as you said, maybe it's time to give someone else a shot. They may not be this incoming dominant force, right, but when one thing isn't working, is it time to give someone else a shot?
Just give me the guy that gives you the best chance of winning that game.
Yeah.
Whoever it is, that's the time of season it is and where your organization is at. This isn't about long-term development. This isn't about somebody has to be dominant out there. Who gives you the best chance of getting through 4 or 5 innings? I don't know that Smyly's that guy. Now, again, 3, maybe. What about another scenario, Ryan? What about a little trickery?
Yeah, so when I was thinking about it, and, I'm not saying this is for sure. I'm not reporting anything. It's just kind of it popped in my head.
We're spitballing ideas.
Right?
What's going on? Why would they keep marching?
It's big brain Ryan Herrera.
Why would they keep marching Smyly out there? We've all seen it.
They got Smyly going Sunday. That's what was in the game notes today. That's their probable for Sunday. The Pirates on Sunday. Looking at what the Pirates do against lefties. David Ross plays the matchups, and everyone has a huge issue with it. Most managers do. Most managers will run righties against lefties, depending on who the guy is. They're gonna do it because that's how baseball is played. So most teams do it. So everyone that has the issue with it should have an issue with it throughout baseball. But I'm looking at a lot of the Pirates' recent starting lineups against lefties, and they are pretty righty heavy. I know Brian Reynolds is in there, switch hitter, so he doesn't really count. But a lot of righties in that lineup against left-handed pitchers. Yes, this is just me speculating, big brain type thing. What if Drew Smyly's an opener? What if Drew Smyly goes out there, gets, he starts the game and the Pirates run out a right-handed heavy lineup and then gives way for someone like Hayden Wesneski, who we know has had a lot more success against righties this year than lefties. It's very stark differences this year. Does that, in a way, help? Because if you were to start Hayden Wesneski, I'm confident that the Pirates would put as many lefties as they could in there, as many left-handed hitting hitters in that lineup as they could.
So it could be a combo, one time through the order for Smyly, and then
and you obviously have to hope that he can get through that one time through the order successfully. But could it be a way to get Hayden a bunch of innings against a lot of right-handed hitters? and it's possible, right? Like, so I'm not saying that's what David Ross is doing. I'm not reporting anything.
But I'm sort of hoping what you're saying is the scenario.
If it's me, if I'm David Ross, I'm not telling anyone that. I'm not telling that to the media. I'm not giving Derek Shelton any heads up that that's what we're thinking. That's just me. So that's more of an advantage play. You're getting a lineup where early on in the game you have Hayden Wisniewski facing a lot more righties, and you either have Derek Shelton keep those righties in against Hayden, again, who has had a lot more success against the righties, or you're forcing him to bring lefties off the bench, and you're wasting the bench early on in the game.
Yeah, I mean, the trick is that David Ross keeps talking about the taxed bullpen, and using an opener only adds to a taxed bullpen. Generally speaking, you're going to use a lot of people to fill that up.
But if you're gonna have Drew Smyly in the bullpen anyway, he's not going to be throwing a ton of innings. I'm just spitballing, as you said. Spitballing.
No, I know.
It's just theory that popped into my head. Like I said, you would obviously have to hope that Drew Smyly would get through however many innings they ask him to get through, with at least a shot that if they were to bring in Hayden, like, you're in a better place than you were yesterday. I don't know.
Tanya says they could be blown out by that time, and
hey, they totally could, guys. Like
Tucker Barnhart's not there to be your closer anymore.
That's true. It could not work, even if it is
that
what
39
happens, right?
mile an hour heater was something, brother.
You're not going to see that.
You're putting a lot of hope in that situation.
Yeah, you are.
Even just starting Drew Smyly in general, you're putting a lot of hope.
Whoa.
It feels more hope than
breaking news. Somewhat. Tommy Birch just tweeted Jordan Wicks was originally slated to start for the Iowa Cubs today, but has been scratched, and he's told that it's not injury related. So,
all right.
Well, there you go.
All right.
Hey,
so you're saying there's a chance.
There's a chance.
This is why I was saying my opener.
There's
theory.
a Birch.
This is why I was
Save
saying
us,
my opener
Obi-Wan.
thing was
You're
just
my
a
only
theory.
hope.
My
Save us, Wicks. Your
opener
only
thing
hope.
was just a theory. Just saying. That's why I threw it out there. We're spitballing here.
I beat Gary to it. You hate to see it. Actually, you love to see it, but Gary.
I heard that Jake Slaughter was. No, I'm kidding. Cody, you got a DraftKings hit parlay or a little something for us to,
Okay, please.
sprinkle
I am
around a little
asking everyone
cash?
in the chat to manifest with me, because it has been a cold stretch, folks. This has probably been my worst stretch of the year. They come and they go. You have hot streaks, you have cold streaks, but I am in the worst stretch of the year. I don't know why. Maybe it's because it's the dog days of August. But I haven't won a hit parlay in like a week, and I'm the gambling gods owe me. All right, so we're riding Seiya Suzuki's hot bat again tonight.
Love it.
Today, Cody Bellinger because he mashes lefties.
Love it.
All right, and then I'm rolling Nico Horner because he went 0 for last night, and he's been great in the second half. And he's due today because he went 0 for yesterday, and he hits lefties pretty well too. So manifest with me. That hit parlay comes out to plus 168. So that's the hit parlay today, folks. Please, God, I am due. So due.
By the way, when I read the chat on the monitor that's in front of us, I can't get through a show without ever laughing at the first thing that comes up is always one person jumping in for the thumbs down.
Yeah.
That's Herb Lawrence.
It's now happening.
It's
Literally,
Herb.
you see it before the show even
him.
starts.
It's so
Is it
funny.
Herb?
Who would ever what loser would ever take the time to be like, I dislike this podcast so much that I'm going to wait for it to start, hit the thumbs down, and then either leave or watch it.
It's like one of Cody's bits, except it's anonymous person.
Man.
They do it every show.
The only person I feel
right?
more sorry for than White Sox fans right now is whoever does that thumbs down every time.
I'm telling you, it's Herb. He's right back there.
It's Herb. Look at him. I heard it could be Jerry.
It's Jerry.
Herb's like, what
Herb
did I do?
Jerry's like, they've
Herb
spoken
drove me
ill
to
about
the
me, and I
office.
will thumbs down that every time.
Herb drove me to the studio
What
today.
if it's Tony La Russa waking up from a nap and just saying, I got to get my thumbs down in?
Herb drove me to the studio today, and
Well, that's a thumbs up for Herb.
he was
all kinds. It's a roller coaster for him the last 24 hours, I'd say. So
Well, you know what? That does bring. Let's give the White Sox 5 minutes here. I know we got to get off. We got to get off. We got to get off soon. Right now. Do you feel sorry for Sox fans at all?
No.
Brax is like, no.
I
Brax-
feel
Brax
bad
is a
for
hard
our
no.
CHGO
Only-
Sox team.
only certain
and then
ones.
outside of that, I don't feel bad for any of them.
The funniest part is the
Not
Theo
one of them.
conversation.
Yeah,
Theo,
that is funny.
That's like playoffs. Theo.
Anyone who thinks Theo
How about
was
Tony
actually-
La Russa and Chris Getz? Here you go. Hey, hopefully the tarp comes off in Detroit. Thanks for checking out the CHGO Cubs pregame show podcast. Law says we got to go because there's a Bears podcast
I got
coming up.
Hap again. We're manifesting.
I got Saya.
Hap's going
Who
to
you
come
got?
through big today.
I'm going Belly Bombs. Belly Bombs, don't forget you can get that shirt, Belly Bombs, right now at the CHGO locker, allchgo.com. You can also check out Avi Shirts, who has our collab with them right now. Summer Mike Talkman might not be playing today, might be a pinch hit hero.
Manifest.
Manifest it.
Manifest it.
Thanks for checking out the CHGO Cubs pregame show podcast. We'll see you back here. Whenever this game ends, they will wake me up from my nap, and we will come here, and we will do a postgame show with or without Tony La Russa. Until then, fly the W.